What's up? Welcome back for another K-pop news video. In this one, we're talking about Newest, their involvement in Produce 101, and of course, what's the effects that they are feeling of that, which have just happened within the last week. So, as I do with every news video, and of course my coverage of new music, I'm gonna give you my honest thoughts on this. But of course, because there's news, I'm gonna be giving you a little bit of the facts that we have got as far as I know them. So, if you want to stay up to date with the news that you may or may not have missed, and of course hear what I have got to say, then please consider clicking on the subscribe button down below so you can hear more of what I've got to say in the future. So with that shameless self-promotion finished, let's get into the story. And I just want to say first off that the outcome of this I'm super happy with. Was a really big fan of Newest back in the day, but as the same way with their career, my interest has really just kind of tapered off into, I still care about them. I still keep a kind of semi-close eye on them, but you know, I've just lost a lot of interest in the group. But the way that this goes, right, their career, basically they start off on a high. They debut is probably one of the hottest it was one of the biggest boy group debuts of around the time that they debuted. And then, you know, in typical Pledis fashion, they just went downhill and and they never made any sort of moves back to whatever. So essentially they peaked at the beginning of their career, which is bad. You don't want to peak at the beginning of your career. You want to peak somewhere in the last 10%, I would say. And so as a result of that, they have been included most of the group has been included as contestants for the second season of Produce 101. The way that the show has gone for them so far is they started off a little weak, and then they picked up steam, and now they're ranking relatively highly on the show. And so what are the effects of that? And the effects, I'm super happy to hear this. I'm really glad that it's working out, because I was a little worried about that. But of course, we'll kind of talk about that coming up in a minute. But the effect is that they have started selling albums again. Their past albums, they're selling like hotcakes. They are just flying off the shelves, at least over the last week, to the point where like they're out of stock in places, all of this stuff. And they've also jumped up into the charts to the point where like they're actually like listed, which is pretty significant, because there's a lot of new releases that are selling thousands of albums, you know, these days and all that stuff. And Newest, a group who was more or less dead in the water because their company sucks, has gained momentum from being successful and getting, you know, airtime and screen time and just ranking themselves pretty decently on this show. And I am super happy about that, because going into this show, I was like, man, it's really sad that, you know, that Newest is a part of this show. Also, I feel that same sentiment about, you know, any of the actual idols who debuted in groups that you know already, right? You've probably heard some of their songs already, right? I was like, it's sad that like their careers have just degraded to the point where they need this show, as I would assume, to be their last opportunity to even make it, or even have a career that's going to be like lucrative or worth whatever the work and the effort is that they've put into it so far. And I'm super stoked, super happy that this is paying off for Newest. I really wasn't sure about it, because honestly, if you really think about it, it's kind of a risky thing in my opinion. So the way that I would look at this is like, so Newest goes on to a show that's 50%, being generous, I guess, rookies, people who've like really like, who are trainees, they haven't been in a group, they don't have any experience like as a part of a group in this whole environment. Newest are like veterans. They are like the most experienced dudes in this show, right? So they know how it goes. They've performed like live stages a billion times compared to any of these other people. And if they just completely flop on this show, then their career is done. The group is just finished, because you can't recover. I mean, I guess technically you could possibly recover from that, but like it just isn't going to work out. And you know, luckily, I mean, I don't think they really had much else to lose, in all honesty, because you know, the career was pretty much flatlined. The pulse on their career was weak as heck, and you know, Pledis sure as hell don't seem to know what to do to revive any of the groups that they've prematurely killed or handicapped up to this point. And I don't even know who, you know, and it's kind of sad and disappointing, but you know, maybe somebody over there has kind of figured out like what a good way is, or maybe somebody's paid off Mnet so that, you know, they get some favorable coverage. Who knows exactly what the answer is, but at the end of the day, I don't care. Newest fans all over the world don't care, because these guys are getting some attention, which, you know, some of their songs, I would say I'm a really big fan of like half of their songs, half of their music and stuff like that. And like that stuff deserves all of the attention that it can possibly get, because some of their songs are really, really, really fantastically good. So I gotta say, if you haven't checked out Newest, you're kind of late to the party. I suppose I guess I can say that, although it's fair to, you know, not even be aware of who they are, in all honesty. But if you haven't checked them out, definitely check out their music. You know, some of the stuff I can definitely admit is probably not really that great, but other stuff is just absolutely fantastic, really, really, really good. Not to mention, Ren is a super, super good looking dude. I gotta admit that. So that's all I gotta say. A little bit of, you know, the news here regarding Newest. My thoughts on the whole situation, because I'm super happy about that. I just wanted to share my thoughts and opinions, and of course, maybe if you didn't know anything about this as well, but now you do. So let me know what you think about this situation here with Newest on Produce 101 and the effects it is having on their career so far. Could still turn out poorly, but we don't know yet. But let me know down in the comments below. And if you want to hear more news and me talk more about brand new Korean music, K-pop music, then please click on the subscribe button down below so that you can join this community where friendly discussion is encouraged, and of course, join that discussion at some point in the future. So that is going to be it for this video. As always, I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.